Now before we're done this lesson, we want to look at one other advanced aspect of formatting type, and that is found up here in the Type menu when you choose Story. Now the Story panel is a tiny little panel, and it really just has two options. How exciting could this be? Well, it's actually pretty significant, because if you've ever tried to create hanging punctuation, that is, for example, quotes, commas, or hyphens that hang outside just ever so slightly of the text frame, essentially giving you a more readable column of text, most folks do it by hand. That is, they hand break the type, or they have extra little text frames hanging outside of the main text frame. It's very tedious, and if you ever need to edit or reflow the text, you normally have to throw away all of that work and start again. Not only is it tedious, but it's error prone, and it's a real pain to update. So InDesign has optical margin alignment. One click, and you can very subtly see the difference here. On the right hand side, all of these hyphens start to hang outside just a little bit of the text frame. Now this value right here, this value of 12, this should correspond to the average type size in the paragraphs that you're working on. Now you should remember, before we saw that the average type size of all these paragraphs was 10 point. So we might want to bump this down just a little bit. That'll use better math to hang the punctuation just appropriately given the size of the type. Now if you're not familiar with hanging punctuation, this might seem a little obscure and kind of hard to understand, maybe even hard to see here on the right hand side. So let me give you a tip for understanding how this works. Go ahead and grab your type tool, select the entire first paragraph. The reason you should select the paragraph is because the highlight frame edges here show where that text is hanging outside of the frame. So as you toggle optical margin alignment, you can see the hyphens hanging out here on the right hand side, and you might even notice a little bit of alignment change here on the left hand side as well. It's very subtle, but just imagine how difficult it used to be to do this by hand.